Hey guys, this is Jonathan with Dirty2Dreamy, just answering your questions as usual. I've had a lot of questions about snow, salt, and how to remove it off the vehicle, so we're going to do a little quick explainer on how we do it, and then I'll give you a couple tips and tricks at home on how you can do it as well. If you don't have the equipment we have, that's fine. It's cheap and easy to purchase, or again, you can use the other tips as well without using the more expensive equipment. So I got my pressure washer here. You can see this car has quite a bit of salt from the tires and that dirt nastiness from the road. We're actually going to be doing a full correction on this vehicle. So we're just going to do a quick video on how to remove this salt. My first step is always going to be my pressure washer. You want to do a rinse first. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to do this panel for you to give you an example on how to wash your car. And I'm going to rinse just this section. Pardon the noise. Now, you'll notice by looking at that section, it really did not much at all, because it's not dirt, it's contaminants. It's actually salt in the paint, it's dirt in the paint. It's become a part of each other, so we need to break that. So our next step here, I want as little abrasive as possible, so if I can lubricate that surface, or even over-lubricate that surface, that's preferred. So I'm going to use my foam cannon. Now, generally, I have a shorter handle on this pressure washer, so inside of this thing, I don't look like an idiot, but that broke, so we're making do with what we got. Just going to do a nice, generous foam. And here's one of the biggest parts where people make a mistake. They start wiping right away. Whenever you're talking about any type of cleaner, any type of wash, any type of soap, when you're cleaning carpets, when you're cleaning anything, there's a dwell time. You want this soap to penetrate. The soap has cleaning agents. It also has a pH level on it. pH is obviously an acidic or a chemical heat that's going to break some of the stuff that's on the vehicle. So we're going to let that sit for just a minute. I'm going to walk over here, and I've got my 2-bucket method. So I've got the dirty bucket and the clean bucket. Now, because this vehicle has so much crap on it, I'm going to use micros. I'm not going to use a wash mitt because the wash mitt will end up getting full of crap and then it'll scratch the surface. So I'm going to use a micro and then be done with it, but I'm still going to show you the 2-bucket technique. So I'll take this mitt, and again, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm going to go around the circumference, the outskirts of this panel first, because that's the most common spot that I miss. And I'll do that twice. Look at what we got already. Filthy, right? And then I'm going to do a side to side and an up and down on this panel. And you can actually see now the panel has some pretty deep contamination. Now that we've gotten some of the more dirt type stuff out. Underneath that is road tar and grime and grit. All sorts of fun stuff. And, I mean, you can wash a panel as many times as you want. Wash it till it's clean. And that's why I work panel by panel. You try to pull off your whole car at once, and you're working against yourself because you just want to get it done. Whereas if you set a small goal of just a panel, you're going to spend quite a bit more effort making that panel right. And this is going to go in my dirty bucket, right? So if this were a wash mitt, I'd go in my dirty bucket and I'd grind it on my grit guard, and then I'd go back over to my cleaning solvent. But that one's done. I'm not going to use that one on this car again. I've got more mitts or more micros in there. So we make a quick switch. And again, I apologize. I look kind of foolish in here with this big old gun. Now this is really cool to see, right? Just with a wash, just with my soap, we're getting some hydrophobic qualities already. Now if you get up close towards this lower section here, you'll actually see that there's some pretty bad contamination in this paint. Now I'm going to do a two-part decon on this one because, again, it's snowed out. There's a lot of salt on the roads, and this paint is full of crud. So this is an iron product. It's called Iron Be Gone. They also make, CarPro makes an iron decontaminant. It's called Iron X. IGL also carries one too. We'll be switching to that one as soon as I'm out of this stuff. But this is another dwell. So we're going to spray this on the surface. This is great for brake dust, stuff that picks up from the road. It decontaminates iron. I mean, that's its whole purpose. And I'm literally just going to let that sit. Let it do its thing. If this was heavily contaminated with iron, you'd notice runs and lines because it would actually, it reacts with the iron to let you know what's on the surface. So this one's not really that bad. So brake dust and things not present on this car. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to use this iron decontaminant as my clay lube. And this is my clay towel. I use clay towels and traditional clay. I don't like clay mitts for whatever reason. The clay comes off on the car for me, and they melt when I try to transport them, so they don't work real well for me. So this has dwelled long enough. We'll take our clay mitt, and with clay mitts or with clay bars, you want to go the direction of the paint. So I'm only going to go back and forth. This gives us extra power because we're using the iron decontaminant to actually break down some of the grit and grime and stuff that's in this paint. This can be one of the most tedious parts sometimes when people have a lot of tar on their car. It's all about prepping that surface. If I don't get it off with my decontamination wash, then I'm going to have to polish it off, and that's just more work. That doesn't make any sense. Again, we'll just take our big old wand here. Now, it's important to note it is no longer hydrophobic. That means I've completely decontaminated the paint and it's ready for correction. You want to make sure you don't really have any hydrophobic qualities because you want all the waxes and polishes removed from the surface before you start to correct. Otherwise, you're correcting with whatever was on the surface, which can cause swirls, marring. It's really not a true correction. So the most important part is your prep. But that's also how you clean your car when there's salt all over it. Now, just a couple tips and tricks for you at home. If you don't have a pressure washer, you don't have a foam cannon, and you don't have iron decontaminant, that's okay. One of the greatest things you can use on your vehicle is isopropyl alcohol. So you'd go through that same process, get a lot of suds in your bucket. Stick your mitt in there, sud the crap out of that door panel. Make sure it's nice and lubricated. Clean that off, and then take some 70-30 isopropyl alcohol, spray that on the surface, and go get yourself some clay. Get a soft or a medium clay and clay that surface. You'll get the same exact results that I got here. Mine was just a lot easier. So, as always, thanks for watching this, guys. Thanks for sharing my passion with me. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Any other questions you have, feel free to message me. I'm happy to help, and I love what I do. So happy that the snow is gone and I'm back to work. Have an awesome day, guys.